Hey, hello again, guys. So for another CTF challenge from Cyber Defenders named Exfiltrated. Okay, so today we'll deal with another Linux Red Hat forensics. You can see here the tagging Linux Red Hat disk keylogger. So if you are the FIR enthusiast, so this is really for you. Okay, let's start with the challenge details. See here the scenario is there's an EDR alert for possible exfiltration attempts originating from a developer Red Hat Linux machine. A fellow SOC member captured the disk image for the suspected machine and sent it to us to analyze. Okay, so here are the tools recommended for us to answer the challenges. Okay, actually answered them all already, so I will walk you through how I get those answers one by one. So the first one is, what is the real version installed on the machine? Okay, first, of course, you need to download. You can download the challenge disk image here, extract it to your machine, and you could actually open it using any image mounter like FTK Imager, Arsenal Image Mounter. But at this time, I used Autopsy. So I preload it for you guys. But anyways, in order to load or add an evidence, so you could actually create a new case and load. Just follow the direction, next, and then just select when you are. Yeah, I'll try to, for example, 1, 2, next, 1, 2. Well, actually, yeah, it will finish. There will be quite a lot of loading. Oh, sige. Okay, let's try. Finish. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I named it 12, case 12, just for example. But I won't bore you to the long loading of Autopsy. That's why I preloaded it, but I'll just show you how to add an evidence. So here, okay, once it's loaded, you could actually add the image you downloaded from the Cyber Defender. So next, so this is the part where you need to add the disk image. So next, notice here you could browse the actual image path, and this is that image. Okay, so that's what I did on this preloaded case. So let's go back. Let's go back to case 1. So now it will take a while for Autopsy to read through the entire disk image. And what it does, it's just like a Windows Explorer or a WinSCP version or window, wherein you can manually browse the contents of the Linux file system like this. Okay. Okay, now that it's loaded, we are ready to investigate. Okay, first question. What is the real version installed on the machine? So this is an easy one. So in Linux, we normally see the OS version within the etc folder. So here, etc, and there's a file there, system release. Okay, yeah, but unfortunately here, notice here, we can't see anything on the text. Seems corrupted whatsoever. But no worries, there's another file here, OS release. Okay, same here, seems corrupted. But there's again another directory, you can look for that. So it's under USR, user, then live folder. So click here or expand here, double click to live, and there's actually here another OS release file. Okay, let's view the text. Notice here it is showing Red Hat Linux 8.4. Okay, that's how we got the answer. Okay, next, how many users have a login shell? So for this one, we will investigate the etc folder again. And if you are familiar with Linux, so the users can be found in etc/passwd file. Okay, okay, that's where the users are defined. So we're looking for, yeah, you could actually mount this image on a Linux box, but perhaps I'll show another tutorial for that. But this time, I'm showing you how to use Autopsy actually, so it's very easy as well. And it's actually Explorer type, so just a drag and click, not much command line, right? So the question, going back to the question, how many users have login shell? So here, to know which users have a shell, login shell, you have to count the number of users with bash/bash string. So to do that, you could do that manually. So yes, the benefit of the command line, you could do a grep on the count. But here, we could actually manually count. So we have the root, one, notice, okay, almost all are no login. And then we have here below, we have another 5 with bash, starting to cyber defenders, up to Rachel, for a total of 6 users. Okay. And then the third, how many users are allowed to run the sudo command? Okay, so here, uh, if you recall or if you are familiar with Linux, the users who are allowed to run sudo commonly defined in the etc sudoers file. Okay, so we are looking for the etc sudoers. Okay, so this is the sudoers file. Okay, let me just enlarge a bit. So I hope you can see it in my video. So in the sudoers, here we can see the definition of the users or even the groups that are allowed to act as or to do sudo or to escalate privileges. And if you will notice here carefully, there's a group here, there's a comment here, allows all people in the group will to run all commands. So basically a powerful group. And that is the will. Okay, so we have to go back and check the group mapping. Who are the users membered to the will group? Okay, so we can find it again on etc folder, but this time on the group file. So hope you are still following. And here, as recalled in the sudoers file, it was defined for the will group. So we have to check the members of the will group, which is this one. So we have cyber defenders and racial. So that's how we got to. Okay. And then for the next, how many users? Oh, what is the Rosatron user password? Okay, so Rosatron is a user defined in the passwd. So we can see it here. Again in the passwd. That's etc again, and then the passwd folder file. I mean, so we are to crack or to find the password of this user, Rosatron. So in order to do that, we have to unshadow the passwd file. Okay, and we have to crack it using John the Reaper tools. Of course, you could use any other tools, hash the crack, anything you are familiar with. Favorite cracking tools are very much welcome. Okay, so what I did here is I actually done this already, preloaded it because it took a while. It will take a while to crack a password hash. So we need to actually copy first. So I'll show you in my Kali box. So here, I have here, if I'll do an ls, I copied the contents of the passwd and the shadow in my Kali box. So I'll show you CAT shadow. Okay, so here's the shadow contents of that Linux box. Then here's the contents of the pass WD. Okay, so we have to unshadow it first. I actually performed this one. Can you see it? Okay, we have to unshadow first the pass WD using this command, and unshadow pass WD shadow. Then we did a grep only for Rosatron, and then we store it into a new file called passwdo Rosatron. So this is unshadowed passwd for this user. Okay, and once it's done, we are now ready to crack the password. By the way, I showed the content of the unshadowed passwd for Rosatron, and we got this. Okay, so now we are ready to crack it using John the Reaper, and this is the command. So John / wordlist rockU.txt, and then the passwd unshadowed passwd file, and it will take a while to crack, and once it's done, it will show you the cracked password. Okay, on the succeeding items, we'll actually deal with logs, or var logs in particular. We'll search the logs within the Linux to find traces of the attacker activity. Okay, for the next, what is the victim's IP address? So commonly when a Linux web server is exposed or internet facing, the most common attacks being performed first is of course enumeration, and then attacker will do brute forcing. Okay, if it's Windows, of course RDP brute force. If it's Linux, in this case, in our case, it will be an SSH brute force attack, as we will observe in a moment. Okay, so here we have to investigate the var log secure, but as you can see here, it's quite hard. An autopsy, it's even broken into 7 pages, so since there are only 7, what I did is copy it all into a notepad++, as you can see here. Okay, so that we could easily see connections, in particular SSH connections. Okay, so we could try connection keyword, and as you can see here, we have our first connection August 24 at 9:10 in the morning from this IP going to this IP. So since we are looking for the victim, this is the victim's IP. Okay, what service did the attacker use to gain access? So definitely it is SSH. Okay, it's an SSH connection. And then what is the attacker's IP? That would be the source IP here, which is 192.168.196.128. Okay, and then as mentioned earlier, what authentication attack the attacker used? So definitely this is a brute force attack. So how did we know that? You could scroll up on this var log secure logs, and you will find there's actually a lot of failed. Okay, let's just search for the failed keyword in all current document. Okay, notice there we have 258 hits of failed password, failed password, failed password. Okay, see it? Failed, Porosatron, Chandler. Okay, starting to see the picture now. Actually, this is sorted. Okay, this is sorted from oldest to newest. Okay. Alright, so that's brute force. Okay, and how many users the attacker was able to brute force the password? Okay, so Again, let's see here. We are seeing here Chandler. Chandler. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Okay, how many users? The attacker was able to brute force their password. So again, in the logs, we search for accepted, right? Find all and current document, and we can notice in the results, from the attacker IP .128, there are actually 2 users that was successfully brute forced. So there's a Rosatron and Chandler. Okay, so we got here 2. And when did the attack start? So the attack actually start, as you can see here, actually we could see failed. Let's search for failed. And you can see here in the result, begins on August 23. Okay, okay, and then what is the user used by attacker to gain initial access to the system? So actually here, this is talking more about the persistence mechanism. And again, let's go back to the log. So in the secure log, the most common persistence mechanism we can actually see is this one. Okay, these are all chronological, arranged chronologically, and just below here you could actually see. Okay, you can see it. Okay, I think I used the wrong keyword, but we actually use this. Find all in current document. Okay. Okay, and as you can see here, there's a registered SSH authorized keys for user. This one, user Chandler. Okay, so this means uh, Chandler user no longer needs to authenticate on the next login, right? As a means of persistence. Okay, and then we are asked what is the MITRE IP of that technique used by the attacker to achieve persistence, actually referring to number 11. So we got this answer. This is actually T1098, or the account manipulation SSH authorized keys. Okay, so you could read this further to know what this is about. Okay, it's good to be familiar with this on both Windows and Linux. And there's always a good return when you are threat hunting, to always search for persistence mechanisms. Very useful. Okay. Okay, 13. What is the CBE number used by the attacker to escalate privileges? Okay, we actually found this. So, how did we find this? Recall on the previous questions, the compromised account is the user Chandler. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, let's go back to, of course, since it's Chandler, so we have to investigate his activities, particularly and first and foremost his command history, which can be found in the home folder user, which is Chandler, and the bash history. Okay, here, notice here, these are all the commands that historically run by the user Chandler. Okay, we see here, change directory, change mission. Okay, nano, edit a file. Okay, remove a file, yum, view the release. And here is the suspicious commands, deba send, Okay, and notice at the very end, it seems like a sudo was made to elevate privileges. Okay, so we could probably say search for dbus and CVE escalate priv. And notice here, this is the very first CVE that was shown, which actually is the answer. Okay, we can actually research this. You want to know more about this? CVE 2021. CVE 36. 3560, sorry. Okay, so it's an escalation privilege vulnerability that allows unprivileged local attacker to create a new local admin. Yeah, okay, so that's what's being done by the attacker here. Okay, next, after gaining more privilege, the attacker grabbed a backdoor to gain more persistence, which receives command from a Gmail account. Interesting. What's the email used to send the commands? So since we're dealing with the recurring activity here by the C2, so the most logical place to search is the cron job, equivalent to the scheduled task in Windows. So again, we will go to the var log is located in the var. Okay, where's the log? Var log, click on it and the cron. Okay, this is the log file for the cron jobs or the scheduled task in Linux. And we can see here, okay, it is cron early, nothing malicious, suspicious so far. But as you can see here, something is being run by Rachel. Recall earlier, it's the escalated, or it's the user that was run a sudo by the Chandler. And notice here, there's a suspicious Python being run under user bin folder and a very obvious C2C.py. So it's not that obvious that it is a C2, right? Okay, so what we can do is inspect it, go to the user bin. Okay, okay, let's sort this by name. It's the C2C. Okay, I think I found it. There, found it. We have here the C2C.py, and let me just enlarge this and enlarge this. So you can see, notice here, this is the Python script. Gmail. Okay, I'm having a hard time scrolling through. So what we could do, we could copy it again to another Notepad++. Since we're dealing with gmail.com. Oh, it's IMAP. Okay, we actually found CDefender. Oh yeah, there. Okay, find all in current in open document. And we can see there that username cdefender16@gmail.com. Okay, so pretty crafty malware, right? Okay, we're down to the last one. 15. The attacker downloaded a keylogger to capture user's keystroke. What is the secret where the attacker was able to exfiltrate? Okay, so This one, if you would recall, the racial user racial is uh, the user that was elevated. I mean, where Chandler uses sudo to the racial account, right? So it's worth checking the racial home directory. So we could see here, uh, notice here, there's an exfil.txt on the racial directory. And if we view its contents, okay, notice the word IOF5. Actually, this is will be more easier uh, to find other Python script within the whole directory using Linux. But what I did, I managed to find it in the etc directory. Of course, with the help of hint. So since we are dealing with Exfil, there's actually a suspicious looking script here, exfil.py. Okay, so if we check its contents, notice here, this is the one related to doing the exfiltration. Okay, let me just expand this. So if we will expand this script, notice here, it's actually opening a process of netcat and connecting to this domain, right? But what's interesting is the exfil.txt we found earlier. It's actually a URL path to this domain. And if we will check termbin.com/IOF, this is actually 404 already. But we can actually check the archive pages or the Wayback Machine for copy or historical copy of this page, and fortunately there is. So this is the historical page, and notice there contains hex data, and to be honest, I'm on my wits end here. So what I did here is I really saw the hint. So perhaps I would learn more about decoding this. Uh, and so the answer here is really this one. Have a good day. So perhaps I'll show you later on how to code this once I learn how. Anyways, hope you learned a lot during our journey answering 1 to 14. Okay?